We normally think of words as though they have specific meanings that we can point to out in the world. So, for example, cup means something like this, and book means something like this, and stapler means something like this, and a phrase like wave your hands might mean something like this. But there are other words where it's very hard to point to the meaning. Take a word like believe. What do you point to when you say somebody believes something? And there are other words, in particular prepositions, one of the parts of speech that you learn about in junior high school grammar, along with nouns and verbs and adjectives and adverbs. Prepositions don't seem to have specific meanings that you can point to. So when I talk about my cup of coffee, where's the of? Well, I know where the cup is and I know where the coffee is, but where's the of? Of seems to be there just to link the two words cup and coffee together. I could say, well, what's in the cup? Well, there's coffee in the cup. But I could also say, well, what's in the cup? Oh, no, it looks like there's a crack in the cup. Well, where's the scissors? It's under the typewriter. But suppose I say, well, where's the desk? It's under the typewriter. That's pretty strange, isn't it? Although the desk is, in some sense, literally under the typewriter, we would never use that sentence, the desk is under the typewriter, to answer the question, where's the desk? And this raises a problem for the child who's trying to learn the language. Most people think that children learn language by having things pointed to. So, you point to a cup and you say cup, and the child learns to associate the word cup with this object here. But how do you point to on? Would we say there's kids out there playing on the snow, or would we say they're playing in the snow? And what's the difference?
We say the boat is on the river, perfectly understandable. We also say the town is on the river.
Well, I could point out examples like the fly on the ceiling.
The fly is on the ceiling?
After a while, you come to the realization that they are not just little function words that link words together, like the cup of coffee. Rather, a lot of them have fundamental uses that have to do with spatial relations. So, for example, the snow is on the castle. We're saying there's a spatial relation between the snow and the castle. Or the tower is behind me. That's the relation between me and the tower. Or the trees are all around us. And you begin to wonder, what is it about spatial relationships that are so important, such that the language is completely full of them? You can't have a sentence without a spatial preposition in it. Even if you don't have language, even if you're an animal, you need spatial relationships in order to find your way around in the world, to go around things, over things, through things, away from things.
Around?
That the ability to have spatial concepts is part of our evolutionary heritage. Now, if you look a little further at prepositions, you find that a lot of prepositions specify not just one spatial relationship, but maybe a number of them, though each one is very precise. So the castle is made out of rocks, but here come some of my students out of the window.
Around?
Or let's look at the word between. The red student is between the two blue students. The red student, she's now going between the two blue students. But now he's going between the two girls. And so we have three different spatial relations expressed by this very same preposition. Here's Francine walking into the library. And there's Ted walking into the library. You can always rely on Ted. On? What does on mean there?
That's why when you look up the word on, you're a page. You could go on and on and on and on.
Now, the basic uses of prepositions seem to be to express spatial relations among objects. These seem to be the most primitive concepts that they're used for. But once we have those tools in our repertoire, we can extend them to all kinds of abstract and more sophisticated notions that maybe came along later in evolution. One of the most prominent of these is for expressions of time. So I can say, I traveled from New York to Boston,
Or I could say I have seminar from 6:30 to 9:30.
I can say the meeting is at the student center.
But the meeting is at 3 o'clock.
Or I can study around the clock.
The one thing you can say about them is that on one hand, they're extremely ambiguous. And on the other hand, each of the meanings is quite precise. And the relations among the meanings, in many cases, are quite precise. And this precision gives us a window into the mind.